The Dwarves of Durin's folk are an ancient and proud people, whose traditions and customs are mostly unknown to those who call home outside of the mountains in the depths of the deep. A dwindling people, they have recently recovered some of their lost greatness, as a dwarven king now reigns once again under the lonely mountain of Erebor in the Wilderland. Many dwarves cross into Eriador from the east on their way to the mines in the Blue Mountains. They can often be seen marching along the great east-west road that runs through the Shire, which ends at the Grey Havens. Although they may be stout, they are exceedingly strong for their height. But they do find themselves at odds frequently with other free peoples of Middle-earth, especially the elves, who have old quarrels or new slights. They are stocky, they are short, but have robust limbs and heads crowned with long hair and long beards that give them their typically elderly appearance. When journeying or in battle, they plait their forked beards and thrust them into their belts. Dwarves generally start their life on the road in their 50s and do not usually consider retiring before their 90s. Around that time, many among them choose to dedicate themselves solely to the perfection of their crafts. In battle, most dwarves use axes and swords, but those belonging to their easternmost kin wield heavy two-handed mattocks, a weapon derived from their mining tools. Dwarves make light of any heavy burdens, especially when it comes to wearing armor. A player hero choosing a Dwarf of Durin's folk can half the load rating of any armor they are wearing, rounding the fractions up, including helms, but not shields. But because of their small stature, and like the Shire folk, dwarf adventurers cannot use the following pieces of war gear: a great bow, a great spear, or a great shield. With the fabulous wealth now taken back from the dragon Smaug under the mountain of Erebor, the Dwarves of Durin's folk are now wealthy like they had been before, and a player hero who is a Dwarf of Durin's folk starts off the game prosperous for their standard of living. Dwarves of Durin's folk are strong and can withstand many physical trials, as well as hard to break mentally. They do, however, lack the overall courage and heart that some of the free folk possess. Player heroes playing a Dwarves of Durin folk will find high endurance and a strong parry score, but hope sometimes may be lacking. When facing the encroaching shadow and the forces of evil, dwarves do well with the wisdom that is passed on through generations, but fare less so when the luster of the gold becomes too bright and they succumb to the power of greed. Dwarves are excellent craftsmen of metal and stonework and of jewels and jewelry. Their skill is only matched by that of the elves of old. Due to their mercantile trade, Dwarves of Durin's folk are great travelers across all lands, above and below, and they make for great scouts and explorers, spotting many things that others may miss. Cunning, fierce, lordly, proud, secretive, stern, wary, and willful are all words to describe a Dwarf of Durin's folk. Dwarves speak the common tongue, but preserve a knowledge of a secret dwarvish language. They receive true name at birth that they do not reveal to members of other folks, and adopt another name in the tradition of their neighbors. This custom has been in use for so long that a number of the names have been traditionally associated with dwarves and are used almost exclusively by them. Dwarves of renown are sometimes given an honorific title, celebrating an exceptional deed or distinctive quality. Although reserved and surly, dwarves have been misinterpreted by others as hostility or untrustworthiness. Their secretiveness has even led other folks to believe that they possess strange and uncanny powers. Baruch Kazad, the secret tongue of the dwarves, is guarded as a treasure of the past, yet their battle cry is well known and feared by their chief foes. A player hero who is a Dwarf of Durin's folk, once per combat, when they fight in a forward stance, they can make an attack roll favored and attempt the intimidate foe combat task as a secondary action. Broken spells. Dwarves in ancient times made mighty spells of themselves, and if a player hero chooses this cultural virtue of the dwarves, they can choose 3 skills in which they possess at least 1 rank and mark them with a dot or a rune on the character sheet. Whenever you use any one of those 3 marked skills, they can spend 1 hope to achieve a magical success, like elves. Dark for dark business. Dwarves are not troubled by mere darkness in and of itself, as most of the members of other cultures are. On the contrary, you have grown to like the dark better than the light, finding yourself at ease in its cold, dark embrace. When a Dwarf of Durin's folk are in the dark, at night or underground, they are inspired on all rolls. Durin's Way. The dwarves have fought many ways in deep places beneath the earth. Player heroes have been taught how to best defend yourself while fighting underground. As a result, you know how to exploit corners, darkness, and other natural obstacles to your advantage. If a player hero picks this cultural virtue, they can add +2 to their parry rating when fighting underground or in otherwise cramped quarters, like inside a building or castle. Stoneheart. Dwarves are made to be strong and to endure, for they came into the world when a great evil had ruled Middle-earth. As long as their spirit supports their strength, they can resist any hurt of the body more heartily than most. A player hero with the Stoneheart cultural feat can raise their maximum endurance rating by 1. All protection rolls are favored as long as you're not miserable. Untamable spirit is a cultural virtue of the dwarves that allows them to resist any form of domination. They have strengthened their resolve against all but the most subtle of the weapons of the enemy. A player hero who has this cultural virtue can raise their maximum hope rating by 1, and they gain 1d on all shadow tests made to resist the effects of sorcery. Next, we cast the light to the Elves of Linden in our next video in the series of Heroic Cultural Spotlights. If you like this video and would like to support the channel, please like it, subscribe, comment, and share with your fellow players and lore masters. Also hit that bell icon to be alerted when a new video drops. I'm Ryan of the North. Thank you for watching.